Today is August 15th, 2024, and this is William Michael, the headmaster of the Classical Liberal Arts Academy. I'd like to share some advice for homeschooling parents, and I guess it could also apply to adult students managing their own studies. But I'd like to share some advice on how to manage studies in the Classical Liberal Arts Academy. If you'd like to make the best use of our system and get the most out of it, I think that there is a certain method that should be used, and it's the method that I use when I work with my own children and when I work with students who collaborate with me as premium students I get to work with individually and communicate with regularly. And I think that homeschooling parents, if you simply learn how to manage your children's studies in our system, you really don't need a premium student subscription. I really think that it's simple enough, and I'm constantly working to make it simple so that parents can use it themselves and really not need any additional help. So I'd like to explain the thinking behind how things are arranged and challenge you as homeschool parents to make use of our program in this way, because if you do, I think you'll really get the most out of it. So let's go ahead and talk about how to manage your children's studies in the Classical Liberal Arts Academy. Now, you know that when you enroll a student with us in the academy, they get an account, a student account on our study center. And all of our online courses, all of our study materials, all of the assessments, all grading, all records, everything the children need is accessible on that study center. Now, the reason why that's so important is because as parents, as homeschool parents, if you learn to work with that system, you don't have to worry about any record keeping. Everything is tracked, and I mean everything. Every time your child signs into the study center, it's logged. Every activity your child does is logged. Everything is recorded. Now, we don't go through those logs, that they're just automatically recorded constantly all day long for all students, but everything is recorded. So if there was ever a question of, how many days did you study, how many hours did your child study, we could pull up those records and provide evidence of how much time. So if you use our system, everything is recorded. You don't need to keep any records at all. I really can't think of any records you would need to keep academically. So it's great to use the system to benefit from all of that record keeping. And then in the end, when your children are finished one day, like I always tell my students, just focus on studying and all of the paperwork will take care of itself. All of the paperwork will take care of itself. So if you hear homeschool parents talk about, they do this and they keep these file folders and file cabinets and this and portfolios and this, we don't need to do that in the Classical Liberal Arts Academy because we have a real LMS, a real learning management system that tracks everything for us. This is how modern universities work. This is how modern schools work. They don't keep papers in file cabinets in 2024. Everything is kept online in digitized records, so it's easily accessible, and that's an advantage for you. As long as you're using our program, all of your child's activities are recorded, logged, all of their assignments are recorded, all of their grades are recorded, everything is recorded, and just so you know, for the sake of safety, and I don't want to jinx anything, but our system, our database, all of our records are automatically backed up. A copy is automatically created every day by our hosting company. So even if there was some disaster with a website or some, who knows what kind of craziness could ever happen, we would go back a day. That's the worst that could happen. So it's very secure, God helping us, very secure, and if there ever was a problem, it's backed up. So all of the records are available for you. So when you manage how the studies are done in a strategic way, you can, I don't want to use an ugly phrase here, but you can kill multiple birds with one stone. You can take care of planning, studies, record keeping, everything just by working in the system. And so it's very efficient if you help your children to work in the system, upload assignments, keep everything in the system. Everything is recorded for you. So it's very efficient. And if, I always explain this to my wife. We often think that there's lots of different options for things. We'll say like, well, we run our own business. What salary should we take? How should we do this? What should we do about that? When you don't really dive into the details and dig deep into these works, you often feel like there's lots of options. But really, when you get into the work, you realize that, you shouldn't do it that way, and you shouldn't do it that way. And if you do it like this, it leads to this problem. And an experienced advisor will tell you how to do things because of the consequences of other options. And so when I say to you, if you work within our system and use our system for your children's studies, that simple activity you do day by day takes care of all of these other things. Grading, record keeping, even attendance is all tracked in our system by just using the system. So if you just focus on using the system, studying in the system, submitting assessments through the system, you're automatically taking care of record keeping, grades, preparing for future transcripts, diplomas, and so on, because everything is going to be recorded for you. So there may appear to be many methods, and we can sit around and let everybody debate about what they think is the best method, but experience will tell you that those options are not all equal. And that's what's important about getting advice from someone who's really deep in the system and experienced with it. With homeschooling, it's very difficult to work with the kids every day, plan, manage their studies, keep track of things, keep records, manage grades, manage paperwork, put together. It's very difficult to get all of that done. And if there's a way to manage their studies that takes care of those things at the same time, it's a better way of studying. And that's what's available to parents in our study center. It just takes care of all that stuff. But you have to learn how to use it. And I see many parents doing things that I wouldn't advise. And they probably think that what they're doing is good, but I'd like to explain why it's not good and what they should do instead. So I'd like to explain how to manage your children's studies in the Classical Liberal Arts Academy. Now, as you likely know, if you have students already working in the academy, once you create your student plan, you create your subscription for enrollment, you have access to any courses that you want. So you don't have to pay per course, and all the study materials are included. So whether you take 2 courses or 10 courses, there's no difference in the cost of study materials and so on. Very, very efficient, very affordable for families. But the temptation that I see many parents fall into is they think that because they can take any courses that they want, they should add 25 courses to the children's accounts. And so we'll look at some students, and their parents have enrolled them in 20 or 30 courses. Now, the problem is when you look at the student dashboard, you can only see 12. And so from 13 on, they're all hidden and they're in order. So half the courses are not even seen, and it creates a real mess for the children. And I want to ask you to think about the children's experience. When the children have 20 courses, 30 courses on their account, it's a great mess for them to deal with. And what happens is, seeing that huge mess of courses, the kids just get paralyzed. They don't know where to start. They don't know what to do next. It's just this giant mess of classes. And so parents have to learn not to do that. What I recommend for parents, and I would even go stronger than recommend, what I really tell parents they should do is limit the courses that your child is enrolled in at any time to 12 courses. Limit it to 12 courses. So go through the courses that are on your child's dashboard and just remove everything that is not considered the top 12 most important courses and leave just 12 courses. So, if you think about the major subject areas like English language arts and foreign language, math, science, social studies, for the modern subjects, and then if you want to get to classical and Catholic studies, think of what the most important, the urgent and necessary courses right now, the most important courses right now are for your child, and limit them to 12 so that all of the 12 courses display on the child's dashboard whenever the child signs in. Limit it to 12 visible courses. Now, once you choose those 12 courses, the child can sign into his account, open his dashboard, and he sees on one page all of his current courses, all 12 of the courses, and 12 is the maximum. So there could be 8 or 10, but 12 is the maximum. Now, once you establish those 12 courses, what you should do as a homeschooling mother is think about how many hours per week you're going to spend on studies and divide those hours by those 12 courses. So let's say you're going to study 24 hours a week. Just take a random number. Hopefully more than that, but let's say 24. If you have 24 hours a week and there are 12 courses, well, very easily that budgets to 2 hours per course. So what you want to do is set up a schedule for the week where you budget 2 hours for each of those 12 courses. And that's 2 hours for the whole week. So 2 hours per course. And if you put in 24 hours, you'll put in 2 hours per course, and you'll make steady progress through all of those 12 courses. And that's how I would go about it day by day. Now, in addition to that, any time that's available for study should be devoted to whatever course is closest to being finished. So you can see the progress. It's marked on the dashboard with a green bar and a percentage. Whatever course is closest to being finished, you should attack that course with any additional time spent studying. So if you've got some time in the evening and you encourage the child to study, look at the dashboard, find the course that's the furthest along in terms of progress, and have the child add extra time to that course so that we're focusing on the course that's got the most progress so we can finish it and get it off the dashboard and replace it with a new course. So the way that you add courses is by getting courses off the board. And then every time a course is removed, another course can be added. And that's how you work through the curriculum. Once you add a new course, that course is now at 0, and another course is the furthest along in progress, and that becomes the focus of any time outside that standard schedule of regular hours for each course each week. So now if you think about that, that becomes a very simple system for managing the kids' studies. The kids themselves can understand that. They can see the schedule that you make, and they can say, okay, it's Tuesday morning. All right, we're going to focus on our Latin studies. So I'm going to put 2 hours in this week, maybe 45 minutes today on my Latin studies, and get the next lesson task done, maybe take that quiz, submit that assignment, put in 45 minutes of work on that course. And then when that time's up, I just look at my schedule, move on to the next course, and work like that through the week. The kids can understand that. There's a time for each course. But then, as I said, when there's some more time, and there should be more time, the kids can know that this time should be devoted to the course that's got the most progress. And as I get closer and closer to finishing that course, when I do finish it, I'll get to add a new course. And as the parents, you should have some sort of reward ready each time that a course is completed or a certain percentage of the progress is reached, whatever. You can create a system of rewards for the kids to motivate them to keep moving forward and get their work done. But again, to keep this simple, to limit the number of courses on the dashboard to 12 courses, 12 the most urgent and necessary courses. Limit them to 12 so they're all visible on the dashboard. Establish a schedule, figure out how much time you can devote to each of those courses and schedule that. Keep that schedule through the week. And then if there's any additional time available, direct all of that time and energy to the course that is the furthest along in progress. That's the best way to handle your studies. That's the best way to manage the kids' studies in the Classical Liberal Arts Academy. Now, as the kids are working through the day, I'm working behind the scenes to receive their assignments, grade their assignments, communicate with them, give them feedback. They can resubmit assignments, raise their grades, and so on. But as long as they're getting passing scores, they can move on to the next lessons. However, what's going to happen over time is the kids can click on their grade book. They can open the grades. I think it's on, if you go up to the top of the study center where their profile information is, if they click that drop-down menu, I think there's a link for grades. And if they click on that grades link, it opens up a summary page that shows all of their courses with their current averages in those courses. So they can just look and see their grades. They can see, I've got an A in that, B in that, A in that, C in that, and look through all their grades. Now, the benefit of that is when additional time is available, they can devote that time to going back to those courses where they've got lower grades and raising those grades. So if they see a course that's got a C average, go back to that course, click on that course on the grades page. It'll open up all the assignments. Find the assignments that have low scores, review those lessons, and retake those assessments and raise those grades. So you can just see how the kids can not only manage their progress through the curriculum, which we could refer to as the quantity of their studies, how many lessons, how many courses they're getting done with passing scores, but they can also continue to work on the quality of their studies and raise all of their grades. And they can do this year-round all through their education. So again, we can manage their daily studies, establish a schedule, prioritize the courses, make steady progress, and improve the grades by following this approach to studying in the academy. Now, if you have questions about, what courses should we take and what order should we take them in, that's all laid out in the study plans that were published this summer. Those grade level study plans give you, and again, you don't have to follow those study plans slavishly, but they give you a good general layout of all of the courses at the different grade levels and what would be good goals as far as content is concerned. Obviously, kids are going to come in all over the place. They're going to come in having never studied this subject or that subject or being ahead in this subject. There's just a time needed to transition and sort of let everything work itself out. But those grade level study plans, you can find links to them if you go into the study center, log into the study center, look to the right menu and scroll down to the bottom of the page, you'll find links to all of those grade level study plans. So very easy to access that stuff. Use that to help you make decisions about courses in terms of what should be studied and in what order or what priority. Choose 12 courses, add them to your child's account so they're all visible on the dashboard. Clear out any other courses. You don't have to unenroll from them, but you can just hide them from the dashboard. If you look at the student's dashboard on each line where the course is listed, on the right-hand side, you'll see 3 dots. And if you click on those 3 dots, you'll see some options coming. One of the options is to either hide or remove that course from view. So it stays on the child's account. Not that that matters anyway, but it's still there. But it just hides it from the dashboard so the child's not distracted and can focus on those 12 courses. So for help choosing the courses, use those grade level study guides. Limit yourself to 12. And, if you want to add more, just get those courses done. Each time you get a course done, take it off the dashboard and replace it with a new course. And that's how you can manage progress through all of these studies. And most importantly, keep it simple for the student. Let the student see his courses, see his progress, understand his schedule, and understand how to attack those courses so he doesn't get paralyzed by this massive list of courses that he's not going to be able to make progress in because he's just spread out all over the place in 100 different directions. Limit the course selection to 12 on the dashboard. Establish a schedule so that a certain amount of time is scheduled for each course, and that could be whatever you want. I used 24 hours as an example and said 2 hours per course. You could say, no, we want to spend twice as much time on grammar, just a little bit of time on this. That's fine. Those are all your decisions to make as a homeschool parent. But keep that schedule to make steady progress in the courses. And then with extra time, focus all of that time on the course that's furthest along in progress and finish courses. Don't start new courses. Don't get lost in a labyrinth of studies. Finish courses and keep moving forward. The kids can move forward as soon as they earn a passing grade. You can always raise grades later, but you can move forward and get things done now. And that's what I would recommend. So there is a method to managing studies in the Classical Liberal Arts Academy. Once you get it set up for a child, you can just continue to follow that method for all of their years of study because it will just continue to work. You just continue to finish courses, replace them with new courses, and so on as you work year by year all the way up through the curriculum. The kids, most importantly, will be able to understand the plan. They won't get paralyzed. They won't have to sit and wait for mommy to tell them what to do. Mommy can explain the method to them, explain what to do, and they can just understand it and take responsibility for their own studies. So, that's the main reason why I urge parents to follow this method is because the kids can get the hang of it and then become responsible for their own work each day, understanding what they need to do and what to ignore. So there is a method. That's what I would recommend. I don't recommend it in some kind of slavish way, like you must do this or you can't use the program. But based on my experience managing kids' studies, managing kids through years and years, bringing them to completion of the program, seeing them get ready and move on to the next phase of their life, this is what I would recommend for homeschooling families to do. Choose 12 courses. Limit them on the dashboard so every course the student is working on can be seen in one screen. Set an amount of time to work on each of those 12 courses each week, and any additional time that's available, whether scheduled or just random, devote all of that time to whatever course has the greatest progress so that it can be finished. And simply continue following that method year after year, course after course, and you will consistently move through the curriculum. And remember, you've got, all day, all night, all year to work on these things. All of the children's activities are recorded. All of their progress is recorded. You don't have to keep any records for any studies that the kids do in the Classical Liberal Arts Academy. And everything is visible on that dashboard page as far as quantity is concerned. And then to look at quality, just go to their profile, click on the grades link, look at their grades for their courses, and if there are any scores that you're not happy with, click on those courses in the grades page, open up the grade book, find those activities that have the lowest scores, go review those lessons, retake those assessments, and raise those grades. So for both quantity and quality, we can move forward with passing grades and then return to raise our lowest grades. So you have to maintain a balance between quantity and quality. If you try to be a perfectionist, you'll just never make any progress. And one of the great motivations for study is new material. So, you may think, no, we're just going to park here and we're going to continue working here until this is mastered, and we're not going to. That's not necessary. You can still work for mastery after you've moved on with a passing score. So there's a false dilemma to have to choose between progress and mastery, or quantity and quality. It's a false dilemma. We can do both in the classical liberal arts. It gets very easy. Use the dashboard to track progress. Use the grade book to track quality, and you can do both. So that's what I would recommend. I urge you to follow this advice, and realize also that as I work behind the scenes on the other side and manage things and develop things, I'm developing things with a certain understanding of how I would like for the system to be used. And if you follow my advice, you'll find more and more resources and things available that help those who are using the program in the way that I'm recommending that it be used. So that's another reason why I do advise it. But I hope that's helpful. If you can get yourself organized, it's mid-August, so we've got another 20 days or so before the fall term starts. If you walk through your kids' accounts and get them set up in this way to be used following this method, I think you'll find it just relieves 100 different problems that are caused by having too many courses or having no schedule or letting the kids just kind of wander through the courses as they please. I think it'll create order for you as a parent. I think it will create order for the children as they study. It'll take care of all your records. It'll help you to keep track of progress. It'll give the kids new material, and they can always work on raising their grades as time allows. So that's my advice as we get ready for a new school year. I'm really very, very happy with how things are set up right now, how everything's coming together. And I think that this method really solidifies how we can make the best use of our resources, both as teachers and as parents, and how we can make our kids' studies as efficient and orderly as possible, which is really important for their sake. So if you have any questions about getting this set up, or if you just find you just can't make a decision between a couple courses or which 12 courses to choose, just let me know. I'll take a look at your account and I'll give you some recommendations. But send any questions you have, and know that this is my recommendation for how to manage your children's studies in the Classical Liberal Arts Academy. And working together with a common method, it allows us to collaborate more effectively, which is also something worth thinking about. So try this out, get things organized, get yourself ready for the new school year, and I think you'll see that this is very effective. I hope that helps. God bless.